It's only $250. That's the new fee added to U.S. tourist visas starting in July 2025. But this small change is already causing big problems. International tourists are staying away. Cities that depend on tourism are losing their income. Restaurants are closing. Workers are losing their jobs. Cultural centers feel empty without visitors from other countries. This is no longer just about applying for a visa. This is the story of how a small policy can slowly destroy a $1.9 trillion tourism industry. In this video, you'll learn about 10 American cities that once had strong tourism. Now, they are slowly dying all because of a $250 fee. Is your city on the list? Or could it be next? This video is made from trusted sources. We don't attack anyone. We just want to share and start a conversation. Let's begin with the first city. Number 1, Tucson, Arizona. The hot desert and bright sun used to bring hundreds of thousands of international visitors to Tucson every year. Now, you can drive through the tourist areas without stopping at a single red light. The number of international visitors has dropped by 32%. Almost 40% of local tourism businesses had to close for a while or reduce their staff. This might sound like a small drop in tourism, but for a city that depends on foreign visitors, it feels like falling into a deep hole. The reason? A $250 visa fee. For many South American travelers, this is not just an extra cost, it's a real problem. One local tour guide said, "I used to get over 100 international bookings every month. Now, it's mostly people from nearby states. That's all." The government calls this the integrity fee, or honor fee. But many cities are now lowering their service quality because they don't have enough customers to pay for good service. The honor stays, but the guests are gone. The desert that once echoed with cars and laughter is now silent, with only the wind blowing across the sand. Small hotels outside the city have empty rooms. Their owners are folding up old, faded advertisements. Have you ever taken a desert tour in Tucson? If you go back, will it still be full of energy? Or is it only alive in your old photos? And Tucson is just the beginning. Number 2, Spokane, Washington. Spokane was once a beautiful, green place in Washington state. It was popular with international visitors who came to relax, ski, or see the pine trees in autumn. The nature is still beautiful, but this summer, many doors are closed. In 2025, the number of J-1 visa holders in Spokane dropped by 40%. These were international students who came to work summer jobs. Now, they're almost gone. Because of this, over 60% of small resorts have major staffing problems. They are short on workers for housekeeping, kitchens, and front desks. Without enough staff, service gets worse. And when service is poor, tourists stop coming. Visitor numbers dropped by almost 35%, according to Spokane's tourism board. One small problem caused the entire tourism system to stop working. If no one is there to welcome guests, then no one comes. And the reason again is that same $250 fee. For international students and seasonal workers, the new cost is too high. Working in the US during the summer no longer makes sense. A resort owner said, "We used to hire over 30 international students every summer. Now, not one application was approved. I had to do everything myself. Fold blankets, clean rooms, even work at the front desk." Imagine a summer where the owner is doing all the cleaning. There's no one to turn on lights, boil water, or carry your luggage. This isn't just a staff shortage. The whole system is broken. With fewer workers, services dropped. Then tourists went somewhere else. Who wants to pay $200 per night to stay at a resort where they must make their own bed? A resort without front desk staff is like a hospital without nurses. Everything is still there, but it doesn't feel alive. If you've been to Spokane before, would you go again if there's no service, no staff, and no joy? Would you still feel like a guest if you had to carry your own suitcase up the hill? Spokane isn't well known internationally. It relies on word of mouth on summers full of people in different languages. But when those voices disappear, Who will hear the city's silent cry for help? Number 3. New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans was once the soul of American culture. Jazz music was born here. Creole food, French buildings, street parades, these are the reasons millions of tourists came every year. But now, you can walk through the French Quarter and not hear a single live song. If you do hear music, the musician might be playing to an empty street. Ticket sales for major events like the French Quarter Fest and Congo Square Jazz Day have dropped by 42%. International visitors dropped by 35% shortly after the visa fee began. Street performances now have half the audience, according to the Louisiana Performing Arts Association. American tourists still visit, but for a city that celebrates cultural diversity, the loss of international guests is like losing half its heart. And the sad part is, New Orleans hasn't changed. But for many international tourists, the total cost to visit is now too high. One jazz artist said, "Back then, we had to share the stage because there were so many performers and fans. Now, even if I want to play, no one is there to listen." When visa policies get too strict, the joy of sharing culture disappears. Also, a large part of the city's budget comes from taxes on hotels, food, and events. But if no one is sleeping, eating, or attending events anymore, what happens then? Where does the money come from? It's not just the music that's gone. Many people also lost their jobs. These include freelance musicians, waiters, and tour drivers. Slowly, their income is disappearing. New Orleans is like a trumpet that no one plays. It is still beautiful. But now it is quiet and sad. Have you ever been to New Orleans? What do you miss the most? The spicy jambalaya? Or the music on the street at night? If you visit today, can you still hear the trumpet? New Orleans is losing what made it special. It's not because of hurricanes or sickness. It's because new rules make it hard for people to visit. People who love the city can't come anymore. And the next city has an even bigger problem. It is not just losing tourists. It might also lose a chance to show itself to the world. During the 2026 World Cup. Can you guess which city this is? Kansas City is getting ready for the World Cup. They fixed the stadium. They built new hotels. They improved the roads and transportation. Everything was ready. But now, many visitors from other countries don't want to come to the United States. Visit KC says the city could lose $220 million during the World Cup. This is because fewer international tourists are coming. Tour groups from South America and Africa are 47% lower than expected. Why is this happening? Because the visa fee is now 50% higher. Fans from many countries cannot afford to come anymore. They are not part of the visa waiver program. You cannot throw a global party if people cannot come. And in this case, the ticket is the visa. A person from Kansas City's tourism team said this: "We made plans for fans in Brazil, Argentina, Nigeria, and South Korea. But now we had to stop them." Tour companies in those countries also stopped selling packages. People do not want to pay the extra fees. Now, Kansas City is not excited for the World Cup. They are worried about losing money. It's sad. Kansas City spent a lot of money to impress the world. But a federal rule, not made by Kansas, is causing the problem. Tourists cannot come because of it. The visa fee is small, but the damage is big. A stage without an audience is just an empty box with sound. If you've ever watched a football match, imagine this. What if half the stadium seats were empty? What if foreign fans could not come? Can it still be called a World Cup if the world is not really invited? Kansas City is not a famous tourist city. But the World Cup was a big chance to shine. Now the question is this: if tourists don't come, will the city be quiet again? While Kansas City is worried about the future, the next city was once a superstar in tourism. But now, that famous city is falling apart. That city is Miami. Miami was the heart of American tourism. The sun always shines there. People speak both Spanish and English. But this summer, things change. 3 months after the visa fee went up, tourists from Latin America dropped by nearly 40%. Most of Miami's visitors come from Latin America. This change is easy to see. South Beach has many empty tables. Restaurants that were full every night are now quiet. Hotels and restaurants lost 20 to 35% of their money. It depends on the area. For many businesses, this is the worst time since COVID. Some 5-star hotels are cutting translation services. They are letting go of international staff. It's not because they don't want to serve. It's because fewer people are coming. You don't need a report to see it. Go to the beach at 3 p.m., you will notice the change. Miami is not the same now. Before, you could see groups from Colombia, Venezuela, and Brazil. They were taking photos, laughing, and eating late dinners. Now, there is silence. A restaurant owner said this: "Before, 90% of my customers were from other countries. Now, only a few local people come on weekends. And they don't order wine or dessert." A $50 visa fee might not seem like a big deal to the US government. But for restaurants near the ocean, it can mean no customers all day. Orlando is a dream city for many American families. Kids get excited with tickets in their hands. Grandparents smile while watching their grandkids laugh in theme parks. But this summer, the smiles were fewer. The parks are still open. The music is still playing. But the big, happy crowds are missing. There are fewer workers on J-1 visas. These are students from other countries who work in the US during summer. In Orlando, the number of these workers dropped by 50%. Why? Because the US increased the visa application fee by $250. Because of that, many programs in Europe and Asia canceled their summer trips to the US. Now there are not enough workers for hotels, games, and restaurants. Many places had to reduce services. Some attractions closed earlier. Some shows were canceled. And all this happened during the busy tourist season. A roller coaster operator at Disneyland said, "I have to work extra hours every day. Some days I stand from morning till midnight. Even then, we can't help everyone." Orlando used to be a great place for tourists. It was clean, fun, and full of smiling workers. Now, even simple things like churros or Disney characters feel rare. There aren't enough people to keep the magic going. A roller coaster with empty seats doesn't feel fun anymore. It feels sad. Like the joy is fading. Have you ever taken your kids or grandkids to Orlando? If you go back now, would you notice the change? Would missing tour guides or quiet parks make it feel less magical? Orlando still has bright lights. But behind those lights, there are fewer workers. And the warm smiles from visitors around the world are missing. If even Orlando is losing visitors, what will happen to other cities? Let's talk about New York. New York is the city that never sleeps. It's a place everyone wants to visit at least once. But now, something is changing. On Saturday nights, Manhattan is quiet. Not because of bad weather, but because fewer people are coming to the US. The city's tourism agency says this: in just 3 months, the number of visitors from countries that need visas dropped by 38%. These people often came from Asia and South America. They didn't stop coming because they lost interest. They stopped coming because the high visa fees took most of their money. A tour guide said, "I used to lead 2 or 3 Chinatown tours every day. Now, we are lucky if we get one group in a whole week." For New York, tourists are not just visitors. They eat in Little Italy. They shop in Soho. They take photos near the Statue of Liberty. They buy souvenirs to take home. When they don't come, the city loses money. And New York loses its image as a global city. As fewer tourists come, the city gets less money to advertise tourism. This starts a bad cycle. Fewer tourists mean smaller budgets. Smaller budgets mean even fewer tourists. New York used to be the gateway to America. Now it feels like it's closing its doors to the world. The lights in New York are still on. But it feels like a show with fewer people in the audience. Maybe the real magic of the city is in the people who visit for the first time. Have you been to New York? Do you remember how it felt to hear so many different languages at once? If fewer people come each year, what will New York feel like in the future? New York has survived many tough times. Big storms, economic troubles, even tragedies. But can it stay a global city if the world stops visiting? And if New York starts feeling tired, then what about the next city? Let's talk about Los Angeles. Los Angeles is the city of lights, movies, and dreams. A place where anyone could feel like a star. People came for studio tours and photos on the Walk of Fame. The city was always full of life. But now, things are changing. The city is quieter. In just 3 months, the number of visitors from visa-required countries dropped by 41%. Hollywood tour companies say cancellations went up by 37%. Most cancellations are from Asian tour groups. Some small film studios have stopped offering tours because no one is booking them anymore. But Los Angeles is not just losing tourists. It's also losing future talent. Film students from other countries are having trouble coming to study. Because of high visa fees, film schools say 20% fewer international students are applying. If these students don't come, who will tell the world's next big stories? Hollywood still has stars. But fewer people are coming to chase their dreams. And if the cameras are ready but no one comes to film, then Hollywood is just waiting. With the lights still on. Have you ever been to Hollywood? What does it feel like to finally see a place that you've only seen in movies? Now imagine going back and seeing it empty. Los Angeles is the city that creates the image of America for the entire world. But now, the world is unsure about coming here. And if you think Hollywood is the only famous place losing its shine, look at the next city. A place known for technology, culture, and global energy. But now it's struggling too. Let's go to San Francisco. San Francisco is the city of startups and new ideas. It's where Asian, European, and American cultures mix like waves in the Bay. But recently, those waves are pulling back. Now, we see empty classrooms. Chinese shops are closing down. Houses are brightly lit, but no one enters. The number of student visas and exchange program visas from Asian countries, especially China, South Korea, and Vietnam, has gone down a lot. This happened after a new $250 visa fee was added. Bay Area universities report that new international student enrollment is down 22% in 2025. This is especially true in technology, engineering, and creative design programs. Chinatown, which was once full of tourists and students, is now quiet. About 30% of small restaurants there have closed or paused business since May. San Francisco was built on global connections. Now, it's slowly losing that. Not because it lost its talent, but because the people who brought energy and ideas aren't coming anymore. It's not just tourism that is suffering. The tech industry feels it too. Many small companies had to cancel their summer internship programs. These programs bring fresh ideas and young talent from around the world. Now, without those people, things are becoming quiet in boardrooms. Have you ever visited San Francisco in the 1980s or 1990s? When Chinatown was full of lights and laughter? Or maybe you were one of the first people to work in Silicon Valley? If you return today, would you even recognize the city? San Francisco is still full of potential. But it is moving slower now. And that quiet doesn't show up on tourist maps. It only shows in the hearts of those who helped build this city. But if a strong tech city like San Francisco is struggling because of visa fees, what about a city that was once known for welcoming everyone? The next city may surprise you. It's not Las Vegas. It's not Los Angeles. It's a city that most people don't expect: Chicago. Chicago is the city of architecture and jazz. It has a lake that looks like the ocean, and summers full of life. Chicago was the first city to speak out against the new visa fee policy. They said it would hurt tourism and damage America's image. Sadly, they were right. Now, Chicago is one of the hardest hit cities. The Illinois Restaurant and Lodging Association says that international guest bookings have dropped by 44% compared to last year. Chicago's famous architecture boat tours saw nearly 50% fewer foreign visitors in just 2 summer months. Even worse, many cultural exchange programs were canceled. Foreign students couldn't afford the new visa costs. For Chicago, losing international visitors is not just about money. It's about losing connections. This is a city built by immigrants. It was kept alive by visitors from all over the world. Chicago once warned that the new visa fee would hurt tourism. Now, it is living proof of what they said. They weren't wrong, they saw it coming. Have you ever listened to jazz music on a Chicago street? Do you remember the taste of deep dish pizza with friends from many countries? If you go back now, the places may still be there. But the feeling is different. From Tucson to Chicago, from desert towns to big cities, one small visa fee has created big gaps. This isn't just about economics. It's about losing our shared experiences. The connections are weaker. The stories are fading because the storytellers never arrive. So what should we do? The $250 visa fee may be small for the government. But for local communities, it's huge. It means fewer shared meals. Less laughter in different languages. Quieter, colorless summers. Tourism is not just about money. It's the heartbeat of global exchange. It's how we see ourselves through the eyes of others. Have you lived in any of these cities? Have you seen them alive and full of people? And now seen them slowly go quiet? What do you think will happen if international travel keeps dropping and nothing changes? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. If you enjoy stories about a changing America told in a simple and human way, please subscribe to this channel. That way, you won't miss the next video. All information in this video comes from public reports, data, and community voices. We encourage you to check for yourself and add your own experience. These views are social and cultural. They do not support any political side. Thank you for joining me on this journey. See you in the next video.